This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life.
Hello everybody, it's Paul Neeson with the Raw Life Health Show, and we are here at our wonderful Raw Food Retreat in South Florida, and we have our first official guest, a good friend from New York City, Joel Brody. And Joel's been on the show before talking about the importance of the beard, and you'll see why when you see him in a moment. He has other great information to share for raw foodists. He's been a raw foodist himself for many, many years, and really presents the information in a good way. It's important, I think everyone watch this, and put your comments and questions below the video. So here's the video right now. All right, everybody, here we are with Joel Brody, and visiting us here in Florida at the Raw Food Retreat. Joel, tell everybody who you are and how long you've been eating a raw food diet.
Well, I haven't been eating a diet. I think we eat just food, simply. But it's not what I eat that's important. It's definitely what I don't eat that's important. If you want to ask me what I eat, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I don't eat a lot. That's so important. My mother, when she was in her 90s, people would say, "What's your secret?" And guess what she said? "I'm not a pig." And the idea is that we eat little and good quality, and raw is the best quality, because the most important thing about food is the water that's in the food. That's because the Creator did not make drinking glasses on trees, and the water that's in a faucet or in a spring is not the same as the water that's in fruit, that's so beautifully filtered by the twigs and the roots. Where can you get that? You can only get that in real fruits and vegetables. So that's what I eat. And I've been eating it all my life, except that I made the mistake of eating a lot of other stuff that I didn't know had terrible effects. So I stopped eating those things. So what I don't eat is a very long list.
Well, when did you first learn that there were certain foods that had a connection to your health? And did you learn through your own health, or did somebody tell you?
This is a very good point. I got sick in 1969. That was a mistake, because as we know from reading the Bible, first chapter, first page, we're made in God's image and likeness. What could that possibly mean? Well, if God is spirit, we're spirit. So does an image get sick? All right, so I made a mistake. So I went to a doctor. What else did I know? I mean, that's the mindset of almost everybody. By the way, the doctor shouldn't worry, because plenty of people will still have that mindset. But nevertheless, I got diagnosed, I got a drug, I went back to the doctor, said, "I'm not taking this stuff, I just have to find something better." And he took me to his desk and showed me in a big book, "This is what you have, this is what we have for what you have, it's what I gave you, I did my job." He did his job, but I said, I have to find something better. I didn't know what anything better was. But luckily, a friend of mine won a contest. And it was a trip to Tahiti for 2. And he remembered that in high school, I was the French whiz. So I was asked to go to Tahiti and be the French interpreter. Okay, I did it. In Tahiti, I met the most marvelous vegetarians, and I learned to be a vegetarian. And I also learned from the natives, because I spoke French with them. I learned a little Tahitian. They ate from the trees. They ate from the garden. They were in paradise. And it's not just the food. It's breathing. Breathing is so important. And I spent many years singing operas, and to sing an opera, you have to breathe a lot. And you breathe from hairline to hairline. That's how you sing. So a lot of air. So anyway, the important thing is that in Tahiti, after 3 weeks of eating from the garden, similar to the Garden of Eden, the best fruits and vegetables, completely organic, and you didn't have any pesticides there. So I got healthy. I was fine. And then I wrote a letter to the doctor, and I thanked him, and I said I did find a better way, but it's called health, and that is not what's taught in medical schools. And because they learn medicine, and they learn disease, they learn pathology, and they learn, which is disease, and then they learn pharmacology, which is drugs, and that's what he learned. That's what he did. He's not a bad person, but that's what he did, and that's what most people want. Most people want a remedy. This is a remedial society. We want a remedy for everything, but very few people know to look for a cause, and there is a cause. So I learned what the foods were that would cause problems for me. Maybe they don't cause problems for everybody, but for me it was animal foods, especially dairy foods, and all the processed foods. when I go to markets, I see people buying packages. So I don't eat packages. I don't eat processed foods. I just eat from trees, from gardens. And I do movies now. I love doing movies, but when they have lunch, they have this gigantic, I don't know what to call it, just huge bowl of greens, and I eat all the greens. And actors are very aware, and they come to me and they say, "Are you a raw foodist?" And I said, "Well, that's the way food is, so I'm going to eat it that way." And I have tons of energy, and sometimes movie shoots last for 12, 14, 15, 16 hours, and we get golden time for that. Golden time is when it lasts over 15 hours. And I don't care. I'm full of energy. I don't mind it. But people are dying because they have to have more coffee, and they're doing this on stimulants. So I don't need that. So the idea is to keep it very simple, very little, and lots of greens, green plants. I would eat plants, if that's for the UK. Plants and plants. Plants in Brooklyn, I guess.
Well, that's just wonderful. Tell us also the importance of, you're eating a healthy diet, but you also exercise. I came in this morning and you said you were stretching for a couple
I do yoga.
Hours.
Yeah, I learned yoga. As soon as I got back to New York from Tahiti, I found a yoga institute, and I went there. It was great, integral yoga, and I learned the asanas, and I still do them, and it keeps you in shape. The most important thing, I think, especially for men, for women too, is to have a flat tummy. If you don't have a flat tummy, all this visceral fat causes a lot of problems. I used to think that it was just fat. It isn't. It's a factory for hormones, and I don't want to produce those estrogen hormones. So in order to look like a man, we are, if we are, we have beards, we have, so it's what we don't do that's so important. So I don't shave, I don't eat cooked foods, and I don't have a belly that would cause health problems because of the fat, because of the excessive amount of fat. And all that is a storage of waste materials lodged in the fat cells, diluted in water. Who needs that?
And how long have you been eating a vegetarian for?
Well, I got the mistake of sickness in 1969, and my friend invited me to Tahiti in 1970. So that is, 42 years ago. And since then, and I also went to the Hippocrates Health Institute, which was in Boston, and I knew Ann Wigmore in 1971. She was the greatest, absolutely great, spiritual, beautiful person, ran all over Boston giving everybody wheatgrass. So I learned, I slept in the wheatgrass room, and it was whistling at night. It was fabulous, so much energy. So I learned from Ann Wigmore, and a friend of mine asked Ann Wigmore, "What's all this stuff about raw food? Why isn't there a stove here?" And she simply said, "There's God in your food. You wouldn't want to kill God, would you?" So this is what we do with cooking. I don't want to do it. So I don't have a stove in my house, and I don't do anything with heating. I think food should be the way the Creator made it. And it works. It works. But it takes time. You need perhaps a transition. Maybe do it 2 days a week. Maybe do it 3 days a week. Add to it. You'll see how you feel. There is a big detox involved in this, so you have to go cautiously. And learn. I mean, instead of the remedial aspect, instead of trying to find a doctor who's going to give you drugs, see if you can find a health teacher. And there are many health teachers, and Paul is a health teacher. He's a marvelous health teacher. He's helped so many people.
And when you started eating a vegetarian diet, was it a vegan diet right away, or did that later progress?
Well, it was definitely vegan because I didn't see any cows in Tahiti. It's not a place where you really have pastures. It's not like New Zealand or Australia. It's tall, thin mountains with puffy little clouds on them, very cute. And it was plants. How can I say it any more clearly than that?
Joel, for those people out there that might recognize you or not, tell them what movies you've been in.
Well, I just did a scene with Jason Bateman in a movie called The Longest Week, another movie that's coming out soon. I had a lovely scene with Robert De Niro, and that is called what is that called? They changed the name of it. It was called Another Night in Suck City, but they didn't like that title, so they changed it to Being Flynn, which is a very lovely movie, and De Niro was great in this scene. And I love doing movies. It's just that who knows if I'll be seen in the movie, because the way movies used to be done is that they had a storyboard and they planned every shot and every camera angle and all the lighting. Today they just do 30 times more than they need. So you never know if you're going to be on the cutting room floor.
Well, as you do these movies and you meet these famous Hollywood actors and actresses, do you ever get to talk to them about health and a rough food
Well,
diet?
they know. I mean, people in show business have to be energetic, and they have to feel good, and they have to be up. When you do a movie, there's so much downtime, and when you get called to do your scene, and it gets repeated many, many times, you have to be on. And that requires energy. It's all about energy. So to be energetic, you have to be in shape, and actors know this, and they're in shape.
Yeah, but many of them are in shape not because they're eating a healthy diet, but they're living on stimulants.
Well, that is a problem, and if that happens, then they stimulate themselves or overstimulate themselves. That's a very big problem. So actors have had that problem. We all know the story of Judy Garland and people who had to stimulate themselves with drugs, unfortunately, because they had to. The schedule is so rigorous, and you can't be late, you can't be off, you have to be on. So you have to be in shape. It can't be done long-term with stimulants. This is why I prefer doing it the natural way.
Well, Joel, you have so much great information to share. You've been a great friend over the years.
So with you.
Give everybody your contact information if they have questions for you.
Well, I do have a website if you want to see some snippets from movies that I'm in. It's my name. It's www.joelbrody.com, JOELBRODY.com. And that has all my contact information on it.
Great. Joel, thank you for being a guest here on the Raw Life Health Show. And tell us real quick, you've come as a guest here to the Raw Life Retreat here in South Florida. You're our first official guest. What do you think of it?
Well, it's charming. It's simple and beautiful, and the weather couldn't be better, and it's a lovely relief. Simplicity is very valuable, and my life in New York is quite complicated, and so it's certainly a retreat. And I love the air, and there's an orange tree, and I got up and Paul had these star fruits, which are fabulous, picked from a tree, not too sweet. The biggest mistake I made as a raw foodist was to eat too much sweet fruits, and Paul helped me with that. So I learned to eat greens. That's why I'm doing well now. And greens are what the gorillas eat, and oh, it's an airplane. And so let's be a little bit like a gorilla. We can learn from them. Also, I was coming home from a movie shoot, and I was walking across the park.
And you saw a gorilla?
No, I saw a squirrel, and the squirrel scampered up the tree in 2 seconds, lightning. And I said, if I want to be like that squirrel, I'm going to have to learn from him.
I thought I was in Central Park and I saw you scrambling up a tree. Was that you?
Well, if I want to be like him, I have to. I don't think that squirrel ate cooked nuts. I don't think he ate cooked acorns. And I don't think a racehorse.
You don't think it was eating the bread that they threw on the floor for the birds?
It wasn't in Central Park. It was in a little more isolated place. But anyway, they do have many squirrels in Central Park. But it's the quality that is inherent in the foods, and that gets ruined by cooking. Maybe 20% is left, maybe 10% is left. So I don't want that. I just want to have the energy, the aliveness, that the springiness that's in food. I mean, it's there in raw food, and the water that's in it. So important.
Well, you're a blessing. Thanks for being on our show, and
we're both blessed.
Thanks for checking us out, and thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. There he was. That was the man, Joel Brody, and we've been friends for a very, very long time. And if I had more friends like him, life would just be even better than it already is. Because he just he knows how to live life. And look, I grew up in New York, everyone, and I would walk down the street with Joel, and he would show me things about the street that I never even knew before. He's just full of life, and he just doesn't sit home all day just looking at his TV set.
No,
he's out there, and he's seeing nature, and he has the energy to do it. A great example. So get to his website, check out the movies he's been in. Thanks for checking us out. Put those questions and comments below the video. Until then, have a great day and a great raw life.
This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life. Brighten up your life.